So the July supply chain report from the International Energy Agency underscores why this mad rush to force Americans into electric vehicles is economic suicide. It's also an assault on the planet because of the amount of raw materials that are going to be needed to satisfy the emissions. It's absolutely staggering. Essentially, all of these rich nations in the orange are going to poison bodies of water. They're going to strip mine and developed and underdeveloped nations to do this. This is what we're going to need here, folks. By 2030, if they're going to meet these emission pledges that have been made, we're going to need 50 more lithium mines. We're going to need 60 more nickel mines. We're going to need 17 cobalt mines. By the way, when you look at the stages of how all of this is done, check it out. America is hardly anywhere on this. From the very beginning, mining, this yellow, those are all the kids that you see in the dirty water in Congo looking for cobalt. You've got Indonesia on there. Russia's on there also with graphite. And as the process goes on, this line gets more bold. That's all China, the processing part, the cell components, and then, of course, battery cells. When the White House talks about energy independence, the battery cells, guess who dominates that? We're nowhere on there. We got a small sliver. This is China, right? So we're going to be driving EVs. And of course, President Biden's going to take, he's going to brag about it. They're talking about energy security, but it's demonstrably false. You can look at this thing here. Here's what's happening. The most prominent role that America has in this whole thing is at the very end as the buyer. This bill just subsidized wealthy college grads in urban settings with taxpayer money just so they can buy EVs. With me now, Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, we are looking at a climate bill that does nothing for climate, an Inflation Reduction Act that does not reduce inflation, and it's driving me crazy. I want your thoughts on this.
Well, you're very accurate in that. Their climate bill, what it will do is just transfer wealth to China, because China is who does 80% of these lithium-ion batteries. When they talk about solar for energy, or when they're talking about wind for energy, who benefits from that? China, again, with the solar panels, they're the ones that are dumping those on the market. When you look at the windmills, where are they being processed? In China. And Charles, you mentioned the strip mining that is taking place in Afghanistan, in Somalia, in some of these countries. It is the Chinese Communist Party that is doing this strip mining, and then they're tankering or they're flying these rare earth minerals back to Beijing and turning it into the batteries and the processors that they need.
Yeah, I'm just going to point, you can't see this, but again, the battery cells part of this, what you're talking about, the so-called energy independence part that the White House keeps bragging about, that is all about China, and we're going to be the ones subsidizing this. Now, on this whole energy thing, there was some news out today. OPEC Plus, they just announced their smallest production hike in history. President Biden, he went over to Saudi Arabia, he met face-to-face with MBS.
Yes.
He insinuated when he came back that we were going to get a lot out of that deal. Instead, it feels like we got nothing but embarrassment.
You're right about that. Think about it. They produce 10 million barrels per day. Biden goes over there, hat in hand, does the fist bump, and says, hey, we need you to produce more. So what did they do? They sent him a message by saying, we will increase our production by 100,000 barrels. So that is all they are doing.
Yeah.
What they're saying to him is, look, we're in charge. We know we're in charge. And don't forget, the largest holders of U.S. debt is China, Japan, and the third is the OPEC producing nations. Yeah. They are sending a message that they know they're in charge. They've got him over that barrel of oil, and every day, we're importing 670,000 barrels of oil. So
it's nuts. Let me jump in here, Senator, because I've run out of time, but I got to go over it and at least ask, if Republicans were to take the House and the Senate, what would be different? Okay, it's one thing to complain, it's another thing to make a change. What would be different?
What you would see us do is move legislation that would restart the Keystone Pipeline. You would see us take steps to open up ANWR, to go back to offshore drilling. And then if Biden vetoes that legislation, we would push to override it. The American people are tired of being broke. And they know that this Build Back supposedly better is nothing but Build Back broke.
MBS said go pound stand today, and we all heard it loud and clear. It was embarrassing for our nation. Senator, always appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.